Oh my goodness. Grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Born in Squirrel Hill, moved to the South Hills, Birdland, and then Mount Lebanon. And my dad did upholstery on cars. My mom did odd jobs. Just a normal kid, man, that just happened to have an aptitude for business from as long as I can remember. I never really thought that I would ever be in a position to own anything, man. I just wanted to have a good life and try to find my way to college. So my dad would just get up and go to work, and neither one of them went to college, and they were like, you guys, I have two younger brothers, Brian and Jeff, like, you guys are going to college, and we're going to figure it out because education's important, and you've got to find your own path. And he was always pushing me, and both my parents were pushing me to be independent. And however it started, I don't know, from the time I was 9, 10 years old, I was hustling. I'd buy baseball cards, and then I'd flip them, right, get as many, get good at flipping, package them. Then I'd go down to the park where we would play pickup or whatever. There would be this bench that was there, and I would just sit there and repackage baseball cards, and I'd say, okay, there's definitely one Pittsburgh Pirate in one of these, right? You might get Roberto Clemente, you might get Willie Stargell, and I'd mark them up and make some money, and that's how I'd get spending money. And I remember one day my dad was playing poker. I was like, Dad, I need a new pair of Converse, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I see those shoes on your feet. They still work, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, when you have a job, you can buy whatever you want, but until then, those shoes still work. And I'm like, Dad, I can't get a job. I'm 12 years old. And one of his poker buddies speaks up and goes, yeah, I got a job for you. I'm like, what? He goes, I've got these boxes of garbage bags, and you can go sell them around the neighborhood. And I'm like, so literally, I would go to our neighbors, and I go, hi, I'm your neighbor, Mark. Do you use garbage bags? They cost me $3 for a box of 100. I would sell them for $6, and I would just take them to them every couple of weeks, right? Whenever they needed more garbage bags. And I'm making $20 a week, which was like big time. Right. And I got my shoes, and but that taught me to be confident. And that taught me that I could sell. And that taught me that selling was helping, not convincing, because once I figured out that everybody needed garbage bags, then it really became obvious to me that if I can find things that people needed and wanted, and I could do it a better way than what they were doing it, then I can make some money. And that's kind of stayed with me. When I was 16, I decided I wanted to take college classes at night just to see if I was as smart as I thought I was. And so I'll just take these classes. And I took a psychology class and did good in it. And then I wanted to take a business class at my high school, Mount Lebanon High School, and they wouldn't let me do that. And so I'm like, well, then I'm just going to go to college. Right. Well, I wanted to start my own company at some level, right? So all through Indiana, I had all kinds of side hustles because I pretty much had to pay for my own college. And Dallas, and I got a job working as a bartender at night, and then finally got a job in the computer industry. And that's really where I realized, okay, I really like these computers. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have an aptitude for it, and this is it. I'm going for it. So when businesses, look at Apple, right? Multi-trillion-dollar market cap. No one's throwing a parade in Cupertino when they have, a super quarter. Right. There's not a whole city that gets on fire, right? When you're moving, like when you guys, with the Suns last year, just coming out of nowhere and bam, getting to the finals. Yes. Well, first know your business, right? I think people will always stop me and say, well, I want to start a business, what should I do? And if you don't know, you're not ready. Right. You've got to have something that you're good at. And if you're gonna do it, you gotta be the best at it. Because I'll tell them, look, if I come in and compete with you, I'm gonna kick your ass. Are you ready to compete with me? Right? And you've gotta work like there's someone working 24 hours a day to take it away from you. I mean, the thing about being an entrepreneur is it's just all to you. A lot of people like to make excuses. I don't have connections, I don't have money, I don't have this, but if you find something that you like to do or love to do, be great at it and see if you can turn it into a business. In worst case, you're going to have fun doing what it is you love to do. In best case, you can turn it into a business. I'm just not big on excuses. I just think if everybody has that opportunity to go for it, they just got to do it.
Well, a lot of people say it's hard to get a loan right now if you're a small business owner or you're trying to come up with an idea. How do you get the capital to start that business?
Well, first of all, if you're starting a business and you take out a loan, you're a moron.
right? Because there's so many uncertainties involved with starting a business, yet the one certainty that you'll have to have is paying back your loan. And the bank doesn't care about your business, or whoever you borrow from, unless it's family, doesn't care about your business, and so it's just a complete conflict. So
what's your small business entrepreneur?
99% of small businesses you can start with next to no capital. It's more about effort. Small businesses don't fail for lack of capital. They fail for lack of brains. They fail for lack of effort. Most people just aren't willing to put in the time to work smart. I mean, they go for it in a lot of cases, but they just don't recognize how much work's involved. And if you do the preparation, if you start a business, you better know your industry and your company better than anyone in the whole wide world, because you're competing. And to think that whoever it is you're competing with is just going to let you come in and take their business, obviously that's naive, and I think most people don't recognize that. If you're going to compete with me in one of my businesses, you better realize that I'm working 24 hours a day to kick your ass.
But at the end of the day, if you're going to be great at something, you've got to make the effort to be great at something. Whether it's sports, whether it's physics, math, science, business, whatever it may be, it's not just a natural skill. You've got to learn, and particularly if you're in the technology industry, because it changes every day. When I got started, after I was a bartender when I first came to Dallas, got into the PC industry, got fired, started my own company. But I learned early on that there was always something new, and most people didn't put in the time to learn it. It's like now with artificial intelligence. Lots of people talk about artificial intelligence. Lots of people talk about machine learning and neural networks. Not a lot of people are putting in the time to take classes or do the tutorials or to learn how to apply it to business. And that's what it takes. And that's just something I've always enjoyed. So I've been fortunate. I think, everybody's got something that they're good at, and the hard part is just finding it. And I found out early that I was a good salesperson, that I really liked business. Like I like sports. I mean, I read everything I possibly could, played sports as much as I could, just wasn't as good as I wanted to be. And business was the same way. I mean, as long as I could remember, I was buying and selling baseball cards, garbage bags, whatever I could find, stamps, to collectors. But I was also reading everything I possibly could about business. And, I was that unusual kid that I'd rather read about Ted Turner than go to the movies. And so I think that created a foundation. And my parents my dad used to always say, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm glad you're doing it. And so I had my ups and downs along the way, of course. But I just think that I just put in the time and was fortunate enough to really get excited about business, and that paid off benefits over the long haul.